everybody, Mariana with Three Peaks Classroom. In today's video, we are going to finally go over the brand new wellness curriculum that's coming out in Alberta. We are piloting it as we speak. I'm going to go over the grade 3 version just because that's what I have experience with. In my previous videos, I've already gone over the language arts curriculum and the new math curriculum, so you can find the links to those videos down below in the description. Also, in my previous videos, in the language arts one and in the math one, I go over how I number all my outcomes and then how I reflect those numbered outcomes in my year plans. And so if you're curious how I've numbered everything, you can check out those 2 videos beforehand. I'm not going to spend time going over that a third time. I'm just going to dive right into this health and wellness curriculum. So right off the bat, one thing that the government decided to do is they decided to combine the phys ed curriculum with the health curriculum, and together they created the wellness curriculum. And I agree with that. I think that's a really important step forward, recognizing that your physical health and physical ability, physical literacy has a lot to do with your wellness in life and your mental health, and it can just, it can create a domino effect in your life. So I agreed in order to combine them, but what it does, it makes for a very large subject here to cover. And so right off the bat, if you're just looking straight at the document, you'll see that there are actually 10 different topics or 10 different units that you're going to need to cover. But keep in mind, you're covering phys ed and health at the same time when you're doing this wellness curriculum. So right off the bat, the very first unit talks about like physical literacy and well-being. And if I just look at the very first learning outcome, it talks about how students, how they understand that participating in like a variety of physical activities, especially challenging physical activities, it can foster a sense of well-being in yourself. And I really like that because it shows the correlation between staying active and having a healthy mindset and a healthy body and just a healthy outlook on life. I really like this unit because it talks about how increased levels of physical activity supports your individual well-being, but it also supports your can support relationship with others. Of course, it improves your coordination, which can aid you in your life. It helps your actual physical body. It helps you to connect and find connection with people and build those relationships. It also talks about different activities can range in complexity, and risky play is important here. It also talks about different activities that you can do with the different seasons, which I love that. You can also talk about some indigenous sporting activities that maybe could only happen during certain times of the year, which is a great way to infuse that. And again, the last outcome here is just talking about supporting that risky play or risk-taking, adventurous play. So that's all covered in the first unit. Now the second unit is kind of stemming off of the first unit. The first unit talks about physical literacy and well-being. The second unit talks about the specifics of like physical literacy, for example, like different kinds of tactics or different kinds of like ways to move your body. So there's being able to change direction, being able to change your speed, being able to pass or receive an object, being able to change your body levels. It also talks about tactics in First Nation, Métis, and Inuit games, as well as tactics can be spontaneous, they can be creative, or they can even be practiced. And so practicing those skills like catching a baseball or something like that. So the second unit is all about tactics. The third unit I've kind of labeled as physical literacy, but they have it organized as a movement skill development, even though you don't actually have to be moving because some of them are non-locomotor movements, so like twisting, or raising your hands up, crouching, things like that. So the third unit is talking about different elements of movement. Unit number 4 is basically about teamwork, and there's only 2 outcomes here, which is a little disappointing, but basically talking about how teamwork can support positive interactions during physical activity. And so there's only two outcomes here, but talking about teamwork. Unit number 5 is an interesting unit. It's about character or personal self-development, and it's just analyzing and recognizing different factors that affect your own personal development. And so things like, what is your role in your family? What is your role in the classroom? What is your role in the community? So talking about that and how different cultures can expect different roles, or different families, different organizations can expect different roles from different ages of people. This also talks about different family structures. This also talks about recognizing your role and how it can relate to a specific career that the student is hoping to achieve. So what kinds of talents or abilities does a student need to foster in order to achieve the career that they are hoping to achieve? Also included in this character or personal development are topics about resilience, and so identifying how a student can self-regulate and be resilient through adversity, and that self-reliance and resiliency can be supported by parents, caregivers, the school, community, etc. Unit number 6 is all about safety. Very, very important. There are a few outcomes here devoted to safety. So one of the first outcomes is basic safety. So, can you plan ahead? Can you make sure that you pack all the materials that you need, or make sure that you have the equipment that you need? And so, do you have a sun hat? Do you have sunglasses? Do you have bug spray, sunscreen? Or if you're building something in the building unit, do you have, safety goggles or a hard hat, things like that? We're also talking about consent here, and this is the beginning of that topic. So teaching students that consent is important for your personal safety. This is also where we talk about rules or guidelines. And so rules and guidelines can determine a course of action, and they are there to prevent accidents. And so when you are talking to your students in the beginning of the school year about your classroom rules, you would be drawing outcomes from this specific area. And then, of course, it highlights the resources that students could need in terms of personal safety. And so do they know how to access emergency services? Do they know how to access counseling services or therapy services, or safety manuals or guidelines or rules in an establishment? So talking about those resources that can help support personal safety. So that's Unit 6. I am a huge advocate for nutrition and proper nutrition, and so I'm really disappointed to see that there are only 2 outcomes related to nutrition, but and really only one of those outcomes actually talks about how nutrition affects your body. But if I look ahead to the grade 4 wellness curriculum, they get more into detail about fats, proteins, carbs, and all that. And so I'm glad that it's included, and I'm glad that they're talking about it in grade 4. But in grade 3, the only 2 outcomes that you have to worry about, the first one is, food provides nourishment to your body and to your brain. Some foods can provide hydration to the body, and some foods can limit that. And then the second outcome is how do you store food properly? So in grade 3, not much to do with nutrition, but they get into more detail in grade 4, which I'm excited about. Unit number 8 is all about healthy relationships and problem solving, conflict resolution, that kind of idea. There's a few outcomes here. I see 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's only 5 outcomes, but it really talks about how problem solving and conflict resolution can build connections among people, and what are required for those. What is required for conflict resolution? Open, honest, safe communication, equality, rephrasing to make sure that you clearly understand what the other partner is saying, listening to the other person, really trying to understand, apologizing, taking time to consider different solutions. So those are all different pieces of knowledge that the students are going to be required to have when you are teaching this unit. Unit number 9 is about growth and development, and in grade 3, this is kind of the precursor to the puberty topic that happens in grade 4. And so in grade 3, we are talking about how personal growth or your human growth and development is natural. It's multifaceted. It's a continuous process. You are developing your mind, you are developing your body, you're developing your spirit, your emotions, your self-image. That's all connected. Development also, human growth development can be observed, it can be experienced, or it can be described. Of course, it also talks about with each stage of development come new responsibilities and new expectations and new abilities as well. And students will recognize that there are different life stages starting with infancy, childhood, adulthood, and adolescence and adulthood. So students are recognizing that there is a growth progression here. And then the final topic here in this unit talks about how your development is related based on many, many facets. And so, your development is based on your genes, your family traits, your personality traits, like who you are as an individual will affect how you developed, how you will develop, how you grow and develop as an individual also is based on your life experiences and what you've been experiencing in your life. And obviously previous learning, like what mistakes you've made in the past or what knowledge you have from the past, that will determine your growth and your development as a person. So like I said, unit number 9 is the precursor to puberty. And so you really want to make sure that you hone in on the idea that everybody grows at their own rate. There are many factors that affect a personal growth. You're setting the stage for that puberty talk that happens in grade 4. And the final unit in the brand new wellness curriculum is the unit number 10, which is financial literacy. Now, this was a big, big deal for the government to add in. And although I'm not excited about the new curriculums, I do agree that financial literacy needs to be included here, and I see that they have included 2 outcomes in grade 3, but that's okay. It's a start, right? It's 2 outcomes that we didn't have before. So in grade 3, students are learning about the importance of saving, spending and saving, and can they identify a short-term goal or a long-term goal in terms of saving. And so the focus here is on understanding the importance of saving and when you can spend your money. Now, a great way to teach this topic is I do a classroom economy system where each student has a job, they have to apply for a job, they have a salary, a monthly salary, so they get paid, X amount of dollars, but then they also have to pay rent on their desk. But if they choose to save their money instead of spending it at a class auction, then they can choose to save up and buy their desk out, which obviously then allows them to save more money in the end because they don't have to pay for rent on their desk. There's ways that you can earn extra cash. There's also ways that you can lose your cash. And like I mentioned, there is a monthly auction where students can, after they've paid their rent and after they've paid any of their fines, if they have any extra money left over, they can choose to put some away in the bank and they can choose to spend some. And we have really good conversations about that. And so if you're at all curious about how I do my classroom economy system, I will link the video in the description below. It is one of my most popular videos on my YouTube channel. I talk about everything that I do in my classroom. I share pictures. I share the resources that I use as well. The program is free, by the way, so that's why I chose it as well. So that's a great program that you can use throughout the year to really teach about the importance of financial literacy. The last thing I wanted to mention before I wrap up this video is I do have a grade 3 year plan already built for you in case you are interested. The new language arts outcomes are specifically and directly listed in my year plan, as well as the brand new health and wellness outcomes are directly listed as well. So if you're wondering, how am I going to organize this all? What kinds of topics? When should I be teaching it all? I have it all laid out in my brand new year plan. Those are also linked below in the description. That'll take you straight to my shop. But this is just kind of what it looks like. So it's a month at a glance. And so, for example, this is the month of September. It's broken up into weeks. And so every week you would want to make sure that you've covered these topics. And for example, if I look at September and if I look at health, then the very first outcome, like I mentioned in the video, is classroom rules. You are building an expectation for your classroom, and what outcome is directly related with that? Well, outcome 6.3.1 is directly related. And then if you go into another month, like let's go into October, then I list an activity that you can do and I list the outcome directly related to it. So the first week in October I talk about a crumpled heart activity and how does that reflect the curriculum? Well, if you look up 8.1.2, then that reflects the crumpled heart activity. So I won't go into more detail, but if you are interested at all, the link to the grade 3 year plan is going to be included down in the description as well. So thank you so much for watching. In case you've missed it, my last video was I did a classroom tour. I'm doing a new series on my YouTube channel called Classrooms Across Alberta, where you are inviting me out to your classrooms and I'm touring your beautiful classrooms And so the last video that I just did was with Madame Julia in a grade 1 French immersion classroom. So thank you, Julia, for inviting me out. If you would like to have me out to your classroom anywhere across the province of Alberta, just please send me a message. You can either email me, I'll link my email down below, or you can message me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm all over the place. You can also just message me directly under this video as well, and we can start chatting. If you have a unique program, if you decorate your classroom in a unique way, or if you serve a unique audience, or maybe you're in like super rural Alberta and your classroom is like grades 1, 2, 3, and 4 or something like that, I want to see that. I want to showcase the variety of classrooms that we have across our beautiful province of Alberta. So please send me a message if that is something that you would be interested in. And finally, as I wrap up the video, I just wanted to mention some other videos that I have in the works as well. I'm going to be doing a video all about how I structure and plan out my language arts blocks for my day. How do I fit it all? I know a lot of people have purchased my year plan and they see how detailed they are, but the next message I get is, how do I do it all? How do I fit it all in a day? So I'm going to do a video all about how I structure my language arts videos. I also plan to do a series on math, how I do my math stations, my math centers, what games do I play, what resources do I use, especially with the new curriculum. So got a lot of videos coming down the pipeline. So if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss a video. I post a video every single Sunday morning. Yeah, and that's just been a passion of mine. So thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.